Okay, so now let's see how subscription works. This is our dashboard of Stripe. We are in test mode. So we have this payment successful, and you have your React application. We're going to click on become a member, for example, and here is in my country, so it's in Mexican pesos. So you can put your mail, a test card, a future date, name on card, and now you click on subscribe, and you will be redirected, and you can see we are passing here the object, and you can see all the information. Also here, if we refresh, we have 6 payments. If we refresh, now we have 7 payments in Mexican pesos. You can see the mail, and you will need to create a product. So we go to products. This is my product. This is a membership. So you can pay by year or by month. And we are going to use React hooks for being able if the customer has an active membership. So we see here that we have 6 active for month, and we will need to track with webhooks the status of the customers to update if they have access, they have rewards, etc. Okay, so now let's begin this tutorial. Okay, so welcome to this intro to a Stripe subscription checkout. We're going to create a React application and being able to pay using the React domain and website and redirect creating a session to our application, to our web application. Okay, but why Stripe subscriptions? You can make recurrent payments so you can fidelize your customers. Stripe is the business standard for charging and money in the internet. So the most powerful startups and companies, established companies, uses React as a way of charging. Twitter, for example, redirects you to the Stripe subscription checkout, and you pay using Stripe, and then you redirect back to Twitter. The product is what your business offers. The price is the price associated with the product. You can have multiple prices depending on the region. The customer is the associated, the customer has a customer ID, and the customer ID has an email address, so you can track the customer. The payment method is the way the user pays depending on their country. For example, in China, they can use Alipay, in Mexico, OXXO, etc. Subscription. The product details associated with the plan that your customer subscribes to. Invoice, a statement of amounts owned by a customer. They track the status of payments from a draft to a paid otherwise finalized. Subscriptions automatically generate invoices. You can also manually create one-off invoices. And the payment intent is the attempt to make a charge, and you can track the different states of a payment intent using React webhooks. Stripe subscription concepts. When the subscription renews, Stripe bills the customer and tries to collect the payment by either automatically charging the payment method on file or emailing the invoice to customers. Stripe notifies your site if the invoice status through webhook. So you will need to have a webhook that is event-driven, and you can update your database with the current customer status. If it has a subscription active, your webhook endpoint updates the customer's access expiration date in your database to appropriate date in the future, plus day or two leeway. So you will need to track your active subscriptions, handle if the payment fails, and check event objects. What you will learn in this course, you will learn the overview and source code of a simple React app to use a Stripe checkout to pay a subscription. Using a Stripe checkout is recommended for security reasons because you don't need to store cards or payment methods on your database. And I will share the GitHub code. After successful payment, you will need to collect the session ID, the customer ID, the subscription ID. You can also collect the product ID, the payment intent ID, and if the session is completed. React webhook. A webhook, as we said, is a sort of API that is event-based instead of requests-based. So you will need to track the status of your customers if they have a subscription active. and you will need to update your database and trigger actions based on customer status events. Okay, so this is the link for the GitHub code where you can download the application. This is the React application, and this index is the backend code. So you will need to run npm install both on the backend code to install the dependencies for the Node.js app, and also you will go to my app and you will click here npm install to install all the React application for the front end. Okay, so in the root folder, you will have the index.js that uses Express, and this index has these rules, so it can allow the entry point from localhost 3000 that is running React, and this is listening the backend listening to port 4242, and we have these simple two functions that we're going to explain later in the next video with detail. But the idea is that you will have a get to get the checkout session and a post to create a checkout session. So the session will create a session to redirect to the Stripe checkout, and then we'll return, if success, the checkout session ID, so we can query and we can get details from the session if the payment status is completed. So we're going to create the session and then query the session. Now, the front-end application will have a router, a simple router. You can see that router here in the app, and we'll have only success and the home. In the home page, we are going to load a Stripe. You will use your public key, and then we're going to create a post request to our server to create a session, and then redirect to the checkout of React, so we can make the payment on the React domain. If the payment is successful or unsuccessful, we're going to redirect back here. I'm going to fetch. So we're going to redirect back to the cancel if the user cancel the payment or the payment is successful, and then finally in the success component, we will use effect to query. We're going to get back an ID of the session, and we're going to see with that checkout session ID, we're going to use the public key, and we're going to check with this ID. We're going to make a fetch to our backend to check if the payment is completed and the status of the payment, so we can grant user access, and in the backend we can modify user status so it can has full access to our application. Okay, so thank you for seeing this tutorial, and in the next video we're going to see all this code in detail. Thank you.